Welcome back, YouTubers, to my channel of an everyday life of an Aspie. If you follow me and you're new to my channel, I welcome you all. I'm Aspie, or AspieAnswers, but I'm usually currently known as Aspie. I'm all about creating mental health and awareness and sharing my life story with Aspergers Syndrome and the like, along with also just tips and advice and just every other bits and go between of my lifestyle vlogs versus just some fun and games along the way. So if you're wanting to see some of these, smash the like button or just join me with these journey right now, and just hopefully as we get to know each other and grow, that we'll be able to, know each other for ourselves. So this has been brought to my attention, as I said, while I've been away. I've been trying to have a little bit of a food for thought, what I want to share with you all, regardless of it, and hopefully in saying this, that you're liking some of the things that I've seen as I've returned. And even though there's a huge backlog right now of what I want to share with you all, be it from my personal experience or my personal diary, or just hopefully, as I said before, when weather permits, as well as just doing bits and pieces around in the middle of two versus outside the middle of two, to actually take you all on a fun events that may be coming up before end of 2017. Excuse me. So this one's obviously going to be part of my personal diary entry when I was done and out, based on the Narcissist series that I said to you guys that I was hoping to finish in the next few times. But as said, bear with me while I've been away, as I've shared already what's been going down with me at this point of time. So hopefully you guys can understand where I'm coming from. I know sometimes many people think, you should be on all the time or whatever, as you said. You can, stop right there and actually think, hang on, well, maybe she has a fair valid reason, or whatever it may be. So this one's going to be called "To the Girl Who Lost Herself, or Who Has Ever Lost Herself to a Narcissist Man." So hopefully you'll like this with my personal entry thought, and comment below if you've been through this or whatever else, or just comment below about your life experiences if you've dated a narcissist, and maybe give some tips and advice out there for others around you. Okay, now let's begin this before I run out of time. Have you ever loved a man so strongly, immensely, and naively that you thought you were the one lucky girl who found her happily ever after in just the one man that you met? You thought while you struck it lucky with that one man you've met is the one, and only the one. You thought that he was going to be there forever to support you, guide you, protect you, and many more roles that males has to do in their lifetime. Well, I sure as hell did seem to think about this a lot. Has it ever happened to you that you loved the wrong guy and strongly believed that he was the one? Well, it did hit close to home for me, because it sure as hell did, because I was just so blinded by his charm, his demeanour, and more. After being so young and all, or being with him for that period of time for so long, things just kept slipping away from my fingers and through my fingers. After being with him for that long period of time, I've lost the sense of happiness, peace, true love, and everything else that came with it when I just thought of something that I heard of these stories. There was a strong sense of sadness that came to me in sudden waves, as well as roller coaster. So every now and again I had my good days and bad days through this sadness. Memories that would have just taken a turn of the events that keeps coming flashing back at me, and I'd be so overwhelmed by these emotions that bring along and also surface, or even they would try to come to life and bite me in the butt. For a long time I wondered if I would be able to grasp the meaning of my life ever again. I wondered if I would ever get back to normal, even though what is normal in this day of life, or if I'll ever be capable of loving again, or even still being capable of feeling loved by a guy that really proves his worth towards me, that he's not the same as every other guy. God knows, it was something that love was 100 miles away from me, as it escaped from me, as I tried to run towards trying to find the real true love and happiness. God knows, I had almost given up on almost everything that I believed in and have forever fought for. I wasn't always like this, to bear in mind. I was one of those happy and carefree young women that was so also independent, that were also grateful for whatever I had and dreamed of. I was one of those young women who enjoyed her life, smiled and laughed every day. And I was one of those who'd go to sleep with such enthusiasm for the new day and being positive throughout my whole day. But dating a narcissist sure as hell changed me, however. I wasn't half the person I was or used to be after he was done with me. The same enthusiasm I had before we got together in the morning now turned into fear of getting out of bed and starting my day, and pretty much just hopefully hope for the best. My happiness was replaced with anxiety, however, depression and everything else that came in the territory of the narcissist when he attacked me in many forms. For a long time I was ashamed of letting him to change me, and vice versa, for me to try and change him to my standards and his standards. Bit of conflict goes on through these standards and expectations between us. For a long time I was ashamed of the person I had become or became, but mostly I was ashamed that I allowed him in to get the best of me. I should have known better. I trusted him. He made me trust him. However, for whatever reason it was that needed to be trusted, all these filthy lies that he fed to me and giving me all this self-doubt throughout it. He did everything in his power to convince me that he's got my back and that he's my one true person. He made me feel like I could count on him and that he'd do anything for me. He kept making these empty promises, and I always waited for those promises to be kept, but did they come and be kept? No way. They never were. Because he made me trust him so much, he just did this so he could betray me. At one stage he made me feel safe for a while. I felt like I could call upon him or call on him for a rescue mission, and he'd come any time of the day. For a while I thought he was my safe haven, but he was far from that. He made me feel safe just so I would let my guard down and also my walls down for a period of time. Once I let my guard and walls down from that period of time, for whatever hours, minutes, whatever amount of time it was, his mission was accomplished and achieved, and was again also complete, because I was absolutely unprotected from the form of attacks he was giving me. I never saw them coming because I was so blinded by his filthy lies that I thought was based on truth. Once upon a time I did love him. I allowed somebody who had a history of broken relationships, obviously, to be a part of my life. A history of basically relationships in a way of finding the real true love, even though he may be the one that abused the love and trust when in a relationship. I gave my heart, body and soul to a man who had no idea what love truly was. I loved him with every cell, tissues, muscles in my body, and I gave him my love unconditionally, irrevocably and selflessly. And I completely lost myself to him at that moment of time, but only because he convinced me he can be taught to love through me, who had the willpower and also the way to show love. But I've learned you can't always teach a narcissist to love. It's just not in his system. Love is just an abstract word that he'll never feel. However, I lost myself to a man who was incapable of love. He made me a prisoner of my love. I stayed with him because I believed it was for love and nothing else but love. I always believed in love. I believed humans were created from two bodies and one soul, that I had found my other soulmate, my other half in him. But he wasn't my soulmate. I stayed with him that amount of years in fear of being loved again by another, in fear of rejection, in fear of being lonely, and just straight up fear of everything else that was around me. He was somebody who got the best of me. He was somebody who fed me on my misery. He was somebody who needed me to be down so he could feel good about himself. And in all honesty, it was my fault for letting him to do this to me, because I was so young and naive at that given time. I romanticized my suffering and made myself believe I was the hero fighting for love. But all I was that stupid enough for falling for a narcissist, not knowing these signs. I lost myself to a narcissist person, in which I stopped believing in myself, or believing that I was worthy and that I deserved to be loved. I lost my self-confidence, I lost my self-worth. I let his selfishness win, and I always allowed it to be all about him and not all about me or all about us. I let him blame me for everything, and I let him manipulate me or him. None of this was so consensual, but yet it just happened. I just so totally lost myself and couldn't find myself again while being with him. But in a sudden instant, through all those years of misery, I went obviously through a living hell for this man that I thought was a man. I was the best version of myself. I gave all in and I held nothing back. I wish I could say I didn't get anything out of it, but that's not how the story ended. I got a whole new life lesson out of it, in which case, as you can see, I might have been a wreck for a while, but I wasn't going to allow myself to be that for the rest of my life. It meant he won and I couldn't let that happen. So I picked myself up and I started sewing up all these ripped pieces, torn pieces, one by one on a little handkerchief. Imagine sewing on a little broken handkerchief. I mended every hole in my heart one by one. I packed every hole in my soul as well, however. I leave my house with my head held high right now, as if what he did to me was pure and utterly nothing. He walked all over me one too many times that I had no choice but to show him the door of the exit out of my life. Because of how he treated me, I thought I wasn't worthy of love, as I mentioned. It took me a while, but I realized that I am more than enough. I am loved. I deserve to be loved. I deserve to be more than what he could ever give me. Well, this quickly ends briefly of my little diary episode of To the Girl Who Lost Herself Through a Narcissist. Give me a like for thumbs up for support, comment below. Feel free to follow me on my social media sites that's listed below in the description. Feel free to support me on my Patreon account at the moment, because as you know, I'm trying to do as much as I can on that Patreon account to do the funding purposes of my projects versus some other thing that's now coming up that I'm thinking I might need to do right now before it's too late. As I said on my last video of what's been going up with Aspie, if you haven't seen it, I'll link it in the video. But as I said briefly, I'm looking into getting some more like recording software, or not just recording software, but maybe some recording equipment, be it a new laptop or anything that I've been using, as well as maybe some other bits and pieces that will hopefully come into effect. So if you want to support me on that, my site or what have you will be listed below as well in the link of the description. Feel free to follow me on my social media sites, Twitter and Facebook, because now and again on the daily or what have you, when I am fluttering about, I do post certain updates, especially on Twitter at the moment, because I feel that, you know, maybe Twitter might be a safe haven. And all of the do, guys, basically also, you know, I want to say once again, thank you for all your support who has been actually standing by me regardless of me being away for this long. Even though, you know, as I said, we do need a break now and again, and from the bottom of my heart, I'm forever grateful and humble about this. So, enough for the do, guys. Thanks for support, thanks for watching. Do what you love what you do. Until next time, Aspie signing out, and you guys have a great day. Ciao for now.